What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Hello.
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
What's up?
So today we are here again for another episode, and this is going to be a fun one. I totally missed my normal stuff. See, this has been a while since we've done it. So again, if you have questions, comments, anything like this, send us an email, teamchatpodcast@gmail.com, or send us a follow, give us a follow, and send us a tweet on Twitter at Team Chat Podcast. And we also have a Patreon page. It's patreon.com/teamchatpodcast, where we offer, if you go there, subscribe, check us out there. We offer a lot of cool perks, like getting the episodes early. We have some giveaways and things like that we're trying to get more into, some Google Hangouts that we want to do and all that. We have it all outlined of some hopes and dreams that we'd like to accomplish with this podcast and how you could help with that. So if you could just check us out over there. Again, it's patreon.com/teamchatpodcast. Okay, now to the actual task at hand.
And
What an intro.
We're allowed to be a little out of practice. It's been off the holidays.
Over the holidays,
We've been doing other stuff, so we're just.
This is our first recording session of
We're getting
2016,
back
so
into
now
it.
we're just
Yeah, we
kind of getting back into the flow.
get back into
so
it.
Yeah.
we're there. Now, to the task at hand, business is out of the way. With where you can email us and
Sure. That's all. That's
the
done.
business.
taken
That's
care
the
of.
business
Yeah.
that I just
Listen,
have to say.
Short
Yes.
business.
Yeah.
I'm quick
The
and
kind of
efficient.
business
yeah.
I like.
Just got to remember, I have business that I have to take care of on one of these things. I have a spiel that I have to go into.
Spiel.
But anyway, to the show at hand.
Today's show,
Today's episode.
which is gonna be it's a cool one.
It is a cool
We're
one.
not the first people to do this.
No,
you know,
no.
you can find stuff.
But I mean, how could we be in gaming?
right. One day we'll have an episode that's the very first. And I'm gonna put this on the record. I want to do a night episode.
Ooh.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know what that means
We
either.
record at like 1 a.m.
Well, often when I like to listen to podcasts in my bed before I fall asleep, and I was like, I think video games are ripe with some great night atmosphere, either music or moments. And I was like, what if we did an episode where we kind of talked a little bit softer, and we did like
We did an NPR episode.
we did more of an NPR episode, and we
Hello, this
wanted-
is Fresh Air with John Wilson.
Hi, you're welcome
Welcome
to Team Chat
to Team Chat Podcast.
Yeah, I think it'd be really just
Listener
really
supported.
soothing. We listen to some nighttime orchestra music from Zelda.
Sure, I would
you
be
know?
any good at that.
I like this. I like this plan.
We should just try it one time and just be like, you can only listen to this episode at night. It's best if you listen to it at night.
Conditions apply.
Because I think some games you benefit from playing alone at night. I think we can do a podcast maybe, or just an episode.
Yeah.
The Nightsode, or
I
whatever
mean,
we want to call it.
the only games
if we
I've
have bonus-sode, we can have Nightsode.
Yeah,
It's not that crazy.
absolutely.
the only games I ever strictly play at night are always horror games. So there's nothing soothing or relaxing
Mogan
about
doesn't want
them.
to sleep.
And I'm just like, I just if I'm gonna commit, I gotta commit.
Well, what about Animal Crossing, for example? That's
No,
a
that's
game.
a daytime game.
It's a daytime
That's
game.
a daytime
That's
game.
an early
That's a
evening.
happy
Yeah.
game.
No, it's early evening. That's a 5
It is.
to
It's
7.
a wind down game. It's the
Yeah.
game you play
With wine.
before. Exactly. Yes. A
Wind
lot
down
of the
with wine.
times, I'm like, let me get to my mayoral duties today.
Hello, peasants.
How may I appease you?
Let me make my rounds through the town. That's exactly what I do.
Margaret, can we have some food?
No, not today.
No, I don't feel like it today.
A really negligent mayor.
Tyrannical.
But no, so this one is going to be a fun one. And yes, we're not the first ones to do this, and nor do I think this will be the last episode on this topic that we ever do.
Another good
because
point.
the topic of this show are weapons. Our favorite weapons, which I don't even know if we can really say favorites, because again, this list is ever changing, ever evolving as new games come out, and we get reminded of something like that. So we're just going to talk about 3 weapons that we each really like. Let's do that. We really like them.
We really like them. Or they like, for me, one of them has like a significant impact in like gaming history, and like
Right.
it influenced my future gaming play style, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
There's other things, yeah. So
Mine are definitely still ranked in like in the order that I like them, like number 3 to number 1 and all that stuff. Excuse me. They're still ranked from number 3 to 1, but still no. They're like, I had to think about it. I really had to dig in and be like, do I want this one to be my first one? Is this going to be like too old and like where I don't really remember enough about it? I just remember that I really liked using it,
Right.
So no, this will not be the last weapons episode that we ever do.
we can do part 2,
but it
part
is the
3.
first.
It is.
It's not the last, but it is the first. That's true.
Mine are definitely not
profound.
in order. I couldn't choose. I was just like, what's 3 that I'm absolutely obsessed with? And
Yeah.
that's what I went with.
My number 1 will probably always be like my number 1, but everything else behind it is going to always kind of fluctuate.
Nice.
Right on.
Well, let's jump right into it. Zach,
You want me to start?
go ahead.
Okay.
Kick us off.
So I've already talked about this game before, so I feel a little bad about talking about it again. But as I said earlier to you guys before we started, I couldn't exclude it in good conscience. Just if we're going to talk about weapons and the ones that I've used that have been the most unique and the most versatile and the most that like I felt I was kind of part of the weapon, like in how I used it, more than like it forced me to use it a certain way. Like I kind of had the choice of how to use it in a sense. And I'm talking about the Portal gun from the Portal series. And I know I've talked about Portal before, but what I didn't really go too much into depth about was how many different ways you can use this gun. And I think that was one of the most interesting things about it was, yes, you could use it to like traverse territory, which is a fascinating thing to me, but you could also use it to sort of, I'm thinking like a specific example of getting a turret off a ledge.
Yeah, like being able to affect the environment by moving things around in ways you wouldn't have thought of with any
really
other.
Changing the little rooms that you're in by doing this. And sometimes the maps or the levels get pretty humongous. There's one in particular, I'm not going to remember which one it is. It's in Portal 1, but there's maybe like 8 turrets that are on different pillars, and you have to go across a moving platform to get to the other side, but you have to take out these turrets first, so they'll definitely get you. And you essentially have to put one end of the portal where one turret is looking and put the other one so that it will pretty much shoot the other turret. So they're kind of like, I can't remember if they like shoot at each other, but you have to use the turrets against each other in some way by using this device. Stuff like that. It's like, I feel like it's almost like, it is a puzzle game, obviously. And I think those are really good examples of how imaginative you, the player, has to be. Because the Portal game does a really good job of not really leading you in so much to having you figure it out yourself. There are like early levels where you learn how to use the gun, or there's even early levels where you don't even have the gun. There's like the first like 5 or 6 levels, right?
Now, would that be in Portal 1? Because
I'm thinking Portal 1. You don't get the gun immediately. You have to like hold.
Because in Portal 2, you definitely do.
You do.
You
Portal
get it
2
like
for sure.
5 seconds in.
Yeah, you get it really quickly. But in Portal 1, you go through just moving boxes, learning how to trigger doors, and it takes a while before you actually get the gun. And even when you first get it, can you even do both?
No, see, it's the same in Portal 2. You can only do one portal at first, and then later you get the upgrade or whatever it is to get the 2 portals.
So in that sense, the game does kind of hold your hand going through it. But once you get into the later maps, they get really complicated.
Yeah, and there's like no instruction. You just walk into a room and Gladys is like, peace out, have fun dying. And you're like, thanks, Gladys.
Have fun dying, yeah. It's super, it forces you to be imaginative.
And it's just not the obvious choice.
It's never
the answer.
A lot
is
of
never
trial
obvious.
and error. You know, you do die a lot. Actually, as funny as it is, you do actually die a lot. But it forces you to look at the maps from a whole new perspective just from this one gun. And that's why I think it's such a great weapon, because it's more than a weapon. It's like a piece of you that you're trying to use to somehow manipulate the game in order to get through it.
It's like an arm, like another appendage, really.
And it's almost like you feel like like a part of like the game making process in some way. It's like you get to choose how the level ultimately kind of unfolds on itself. You get to choose that path through this gun.
And if you're creative enough, there's like millions of ways that you can choose to get through any given level, and someone else might go, why are you doing this?
Right.
You knew that
like,
it's
well,
way
watch this.
easier than that, and you're like, no, what? I'm going to do it my way.
And there's
You'll see.
And there's a couple levels where it's like kind of obvious. I'm thinking of one in particular where you basically have to shoot yourself across a platform. And you do that by shooting a portal at the bottom of like a huge pit.
Oh, yeah.
And you get the momentum of your own self to go
and
through it.
And
and you fly. You put another one at the top, and you fly out the top one. And
that's my favorite thing to do.
I know. And
I love
one
it.
of the first things everyone does is like they make one above them, one below them, and you just fall forever, faster and faster. Just stuff like that. It's just so much fun. I'm like, man, I'd never seen anything like it. I didn't even think like stuff like this was possible. I'm like, how does it?
That's the thing, like the physics of the game. I think we talked about it a little last time. I'm not over it. Like how
still blows my mind.
I just need to know how did they make the game to where if I shoot the portal on this wall and then another one way over there, like how? Just how? I need to know.
And what's really there's a great part. I know you haven't finished Portal 2 yet.
No, I've gotten I've gotten a fair way through. I'm on like chapter 9.
You're pretty close to the end.
Yeah, I'm pretty close.
There's a great moment where you get to see how far the portal gun can actually shoot.
Okay, never mind. I don't think I've gotten that far. Yeah, leave it at that.
You're like, what the hell?
I'm almost done. I'm getting there.
It's pretty interesting. So it's got some range on it too. Just from like a a tactical standpoint, it's got range. It's got infinite ammo. It shoots quickly. So it's like it's a good weapon to have. In the real life, a real life experiment, I don't know if it'd be the gun I'd want to have. If
I would.
Unless you gotta be, I guess you get creative with it. But I'd almost rather have like a minigun if something bad was coming at me.
Oh yeah,
I'd rather have the portal gun because I'm an escapist. I need to escape. I'd be like, I'm out of here. Peace out.
Peace out, y'all.
So yeah, that's the portal gun, and if people have played Portal know exactly how cool it really is.
So I am one of the people who has not played Portal yet, and it's on my list. I bought it. I just need to get to it because you guys hyped it up so much. I'm like, okay, I need to really get into this. So, speaking from ignorance, do you actually, because from how you're describing it, it's an environment manipulation.
Yes.
Basically, does it have can you use it solely to eliminate an enemy or something like that, or is it only its only purpose is you just pick up stuff, move it around, but like you were talking about, you can use it to position two turrets to shoot at each other.
Sure.
So it can destroy things, but it's not from itself. It
can lead things to destruction.
Right. And technically, this may not have been in Portal 1. I actually don't know. I haven't played Portal 1 yet, but in Portal 2, you can actually, how I know, right? The little turrets, how you can actually pick them up, and they'll immediately start firing. So one of my favorite things is just picking up turrets and then dropping them into other turrets.
Right.
And it just goes ballistic and kills all the turrets. And I'm like, this is great.
Great lines, too. The turrets are so adorable.
They're like, I'm different. And it's just like, you probably are.
Congratulations.
Who's behind me?
My favorites are the malfunctioning ones.
Oh, yeah.
They're so fantastic.
They are.
They're the best.
There's some, isn't there some black ones,
yeah,
too,
they're
that
like
on a conveyor belt? Or what is
that?
Yeah,
they're the malfunctioning ones.
Are they the malfunctioning ones?
They're just not functioning properly, and they're going down the conveyor belt in one particular scene in Portal 2, and it's like the testing range. So they're meant to shoot at this target, and if they hit the target, good, they're good to go. And if they don't, then it's like they basically get scrapped. And so they'll come up to the shooting line and go to shoot, and it's just this empty clicking noise, and they're like, oh crap.
Oh crap.
And then later down the level, you kind of get to the end of the conveyor belt, and it's so sad because you see all of the defective ones going into these scrappers, and they're like, no, I can change. And you're just oh. I want to save them so bad.
It's such a well-written game. There's so much humor in it.
It's one of the funniest games I think I've played. It's hilarious. And it really doesn't even have that much dialogue.
No.
It's just what it does have is gold.
Yes,
it's solid gold.
So true.
Nice. All right.
So yeah, that's my number 3, the aperture science. I think there's a technical term for it, aperture science, portal device or something.
Oh, I wouldn't know.
I'm
sure I wasn't paying attention.
Portal gun works. People know. People know what I'm talking about.
So Mogan, we'll transition to you.
Okay, so I don't really have an order. Just one of the ones that I immediately thought of when we were weapons, it didn't first come to mind because technically you may or may not classify it as a weapon. It might just be your little child or your little friend because it's going to be the purple Pikmin from Pikmin 2.
Oh, okay.
Now, I've talked a lot about Pikmin 1 before, so that was mostly Pikmin 1. Pikmin 2 is one of the best sequel games I've ever played because it took everything that was wrong with the first one and improved it and then added more on.
Okay.
So Pikmin 2 arguably better than Pikmin 1. And one of the best additions to the whole game were 2 new Pikmin types. One of them is white Pikmin. White Pikmin suck. They're not good. They're useful. They can basically manipulate poison. Okay. So where you might die in poison, where other Pikmin might die in poison, white ones don't. So they can complete puzzles that other Pikmin can't. The problem is they're teeny tiny, and they have big red eyes, and they're white, so they're like little albino Pikmin. And they're kind of creepy, and you're like, oh god, I don't know about these things.
Stop following me.
Get away. But white Pikmin suck. Their counterpart, which is the best part of Pikmin 2, are the purple Pikmin. They, in contrast, are the biggest, fattest, dumbest looking Pikmin that you can have in the whole game. And that's their entire ability. Purple Pikmin, they're heavy. That's what they do. when you throw a purple Pikmin and they hit the ground, it actually makes like a boom noise and the ground shakes.
Who throws the Pikmin?
You do.
As the little astronaut man.
So you're,
What's his name again?
You're Olimar.
Olimar.
And in
Olimar,
Pikmin
that's
2,
right.
you're actually two people. You're Olimar and Louis. So they introduced this really interesting system of shifting basically responsibility, shifting who's captain of the team.
Okay.
So you can basically split up. You can have Olimar go one direction, and then you switch over to Louis, have him go another way, and they can both take Pikmin with them.
Now, do you get to switch from these guys on the fly?
You just toggle back and forth as needed.
Okay.
So it's really interesting. Now, obviously, your inactive captain can't do anything. So like the Pikmin and the captain that you aren't using just immediately go inactive. But it's really good for if you need a specific amount of Pikmin hidden in one part of the level while you and the other Pikmin go do something else somewhere else. And that's why purple Pikmin are the best part of the game, because you only need maybe 10 to get everything done, to demolish levels at a rapid rate. And the first time I played the game, I was so concerned for their safety that I really almost never used them, because purple Pikmin and white Pikmin are not created the same way as red, yellow, and blue.
Okay.
Red, yellow, and blue Pikmin, very standard. You basically just take these pellets that enemies drop when you kill them, and the Pikmin will carry them back to their little spaceship, and the spaceship takes the pellet up and spits out Pikmin seeds. Depending on the size of the pellet or the size of the enemy you basically put up into the spaceship, you might get more, you might get less. Purple and white Pikmin can only be created from other Pikmin. What basically happens is you have to find very specific purple or white flowers. And when you find a flower, you throw in a red, white, or blue, a red, yellow, or blue Pikmin.
Like a sacrifice?
Like a not like a sacred. No, they're not gone. They just change.
transform.
They're
Okay,
transformed.
Okay.
And these flowers can only yield 5 at a time. And Pikmin is a numbers game. So if you can only get 5 of something, that makes it arguably much more precious than like red, yellow, blue, disposable.
Right.
But like purple and white, they're hard to make, they're hard to keep, because the white Pikmin, very delicate, they die like that. But purple Pikmin, they're like little tanks, and they're fantastic.
And so you throw them against things and they
You
can
do.
demolish stuff?
So
Is
they
that what Pikmin's all
basically squish things.
Okay.
So you can actually swarm enemies with regular Pikmin and purple Pikmin, but they are much more effective to use in a throwing means. So instead of swarming around something and attacking its legs and lower body, you throw the purple Pikmin on top of it, and they do significantly more damage and stun the enemy.
about? Okay.
And if it's a small enough enemy, they literally just like kind of splat pancake style on the ground, and you're like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted. This is the outcome I was
And
hoping
they're
for.
okay. The purple Pikmin,
They're
get back up.
fine. No,
That's
like they
interesting.
smash something and
they're
they're
your
like,
tanks.
all right, let's
Yeah.
keep going. So you're like, yeah, that's exactly what they're for. And that's why I love them.
Bloodthirsty little
They
things.
are. They're a little bit bloodthirsty. But so a little goes a long way with them. You can get as many purple Pikmin as you are willing to make, but you have to keep going back to specific levels where the purple and white flowers are, because they're not everywhere. But where they spawn, they're always going to be there. But having to go back every single time and traverse many levels just to get the flowers is kind of a pain in the buns. So instead, it's better to just get a very small unit of purple or white Pikmin and then go back up to the surface and make sure none of them ever die, ever.
Well, that's how you like to play the game.
That's how I like to. No, the
none of them
goal is
die.
for none of them to die, ever. And if they do, we're starting over.
Yeah. That's hardcore. That's hardcore
It
mode.
is. Hey,
You
the
know,
purple
that's like
Pikmin,
Diablo
you can't
3,
Nightmare. Is it
mode.
Nightmare?
I don't know.
you can't be
I've
sacrificing
never
them.
played Diablo, but I know it exists.
I love Diablo 3.
Like survival mode. We even talked about it.
think
Sorry,
it's-
we're
I think-
we're
yeah,
talking
sorry.
about Diablo, but I would I would like to. Have you played Diablo?
I played Diablo 3 to completion.
Okay,
Well,
we should talk about that at some time.
we should. I really like that series.
Yeah,
But what I was going to say, Pikmin sounds so much more complicated than I ever
I
imagined it
know
would
it's
be.
kind of like a puzzle.
holy
No, it
shit.
is.
It's a numbers
it's a
game,
it's a strategy
mathematical.
puzzle game.
Yeah.
So all you're doing is getting in Pikmin 2. Your whole goal is treasure, because your boss from your home planet is like, we need money. And after you reach a certain point in the game, your actual spaceship gets coated in gold, and it's fantastic because your
pretty.
spaceship talks
Yeah.
to you the whole time. And when he goes gold, he's like, I'm the best. I am godlike.
I didn't know the
I am
spaceship
perfect.
talked.
The spaceship is fantastic. Only in Pikmin 2.
Oh, okay.
Because in Pikmin 1, your spaceship was just your ship.
Okay.
It didn't interact with you. But in Pikmin 2, it's actually a different ship that you take back with you that is like, it's almost kind of like GLaDOS in that it's always sassing you. Like, it really doesn't think you're doing things correctly. And you're like, shut up, spaceship. God damn it.
I don't know. I haven't played Pikmin, which, again, the more you talk about it, the more it sounds fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just always imagined it was going to be something more like Mario. You just go levels and you have these little followers, and you're like saving them. So the whole point is you don't die, so you can just collect all the Pikmin as like followers. Yeah, I had no idea there's this level of depth to it.
Like the Pikmin are just your assets. They're really not your goal.
Right, but they help. Yeah, I just thought the game is you're saving Pikmin. So you have like a certain number of Pikmin you have to save.
They're
on each
your
level.
slaves. They are legitimately your slaves.
Now it's too dark.
That's what
Now
they
I don't
are.
want to play.
So like, but see,
slavery.
that's why you have to be a benevolent visitor. You're this alien helping them.
I see.
And when you come back to the planet in Pikmin 2, you find a new group of little Pikmin, and like they recognize you, and they're like, "Oh, thank God, Olimar's back, our savior." So it's just like, "Yes, my Pikmin have returned.
This is Christianity.
Let us get right back to collecting treasure."
I'll keep all this, thank you.
I'll keep all of this in my spaceship.
This is mine.
None of you will get any of it.
See you in Pikmin 3. Is there a Pikmin 3?
There is. There's
there
a Pikmin 3 for the Wii U, and then I think...
Are you going to get it?
Didn't they? I already have it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It's just, watch it, buddy. But I wouldn't really say that it was... There's a lot you could say about it. I'll just leave it at I don't think it was as good as Pikmin 2. Mainly because purple Pikmin weren't in it. And I was like, oh, we're done here. Let me just go on ahead and peace right back out.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah,
Pikmin.
no, I gotta...
They should have their off-spin game.
They should.
They
If they
should.
don't already, just the purple Pikmin game.
Yeah.
Where you're just these fat little Pikmin going around squishing stuff. I would play
fun.
that game forever.
Nice. No, yeah, no,
We'll
The
play
more
it
the
one
more
day.
we talk, just
know
my
that.
list
Someone-
of games that I have to play and
forever
go back and play
expanding.
forever expands.
I know.
So
It's,
just
at some
to
point,
say, you can play Pikmin 2
about
without
to
ever
say-
having played Pikmin 1.
Okay, cool.
Like
That's
you
good
can
to know.
definitely
That is
just
good
skip
to
to
know.
2, get
good
the
to know.
better
is
experience
it
out
Wii
of it.
or Wii U?
Wii U for actually Pikmin 2 they re-released it was originally for GameCube.
I was going to say, it's probably
No,
it's
no.
that
So
old.
Pikmin
Okay.
1 and 2 were originally both for GameCube, but Pikmin 2 at least they ported to the Wii.
Okay,
So
I
if you
could buy
have an
Pikmin
old
2.
Wii, and
Okay.
they're still selling it in stores because like they did like the Nintendo's Greatest Hits.
Right.
So it's not even
yeah.
expensive. It's like $20 and that's it.
Okay, cool. I'll have to check that out because I have the Wii. As we've talked about before, I hardly ever play it, but I do have that ability.
Good.
So
Well, Pikmin 2. Now, but you said you don't really like puzzles.
I don't.
I'm not sure
Here's the
Pikmin-
thing. Here's the thing with this. I know
It's
I've said it a
also
lot.
time-based, isn't it? I don't like that.
If I'm going to sit down and it's also this weird thing in my head where it's like, if I'm going to play a game that's more of a puzzle-based thing, I'd rather play that on like a handheld.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd rather play that on my Vita or even on my phone, depending if it's a game.
I thought for
I
sure
can- I
you were
kinda
going to
can
say
feel
your
that.
Nintendo 3DS XL, but
I'm
I guess
sorry,
that still
I
hasn't
don't have-
happened.
it hasn't happened yet. I'm sorry.
One day, we'll get it together.
No excuses.
Me and Jerrett both need to get that.
And
So
so
I know what you mean. There's something about
it's
a
like
puzzle game that
that
it's
feels
more
like
fun to play in
it should
your
be
hands.
like that's something that like I want to have. I just want to be able to like pick it up and play it for a few
Right.
minutes. If I'm going to sit down on my at the console and play, or even really at my computer and play, that means I have the time to commit time,
Right.
serious time to it.
Right.
So that's where I want to get ahead in like the big RPGs that I'm playing or something like that. So that's the thing. It's hard for me to want to sit down and just be like, I'm going to play this. And I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense at all, but that's just how it kind of goes in my
But
head.
Pikmin's more than just like it's there's like a story kind of. There's like
Right.
an environment that you traverse through, right?
I mean, yes,
It's not just.
I
like,
mean, I wouldn't. There's like a
There's, like, enemies you have to
story.
defeat.
There are yes.
there's the weird dog flowers thing.
I mean, I know
what
I know
those
You
there's
probably
like
mean Bulborbs?
Probably.
Actually, one of the best things about the game is that in your encyclopedia, every time you encounter a new enemy, Olimar and Louie in Pikmin 2 will write journal entries about them, like to catalog them basically, because you're kind of like a pseudo-researcher. Like you're on this alien planet cataloging things.
Okay.
And Olimar's assessments are always like very strategic, very enemy works in this way, this is how to get around them. Louis is a creeper. He's horrible. I hate his guts. I want him to die because all of Louis's journal entries are how he thinks he could eat. everything you encounter. He's like, could probably slice up into steaks and fry. And I'm like, dear God, Louie, you're the biggest. And actually, no, I don't want to give it away. It's a big spoiler, so never mind.
Yeah, no spoilers, please.
Never mind.
Let's move to your number 3, Jerrett.
All right. My number 3, which I originally had as my number 1, and then I thought of
Say what?
And then I thought of my number 1. I was like, oh, duh. This one I enjoy way more. But my number 3 is from Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and it's the P90, which is a submachine gun that you can use.
I'm pretty sure I know that.
Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Definitely
sure.
do
A
not.
P90.
Okay.
I mean, I know what a machine gun is.
Yeah, I know it's I'm pretty sure it's an actual.
What's it shaped
gun.
like?
It kind of almost looks. I had it. I was just looking at it. It just kind of has really curved edges and kind of looks like it's all one bit like a. It looks like a Halo-ish gun.
Yes,
honestly,
I've used
it kind of
that.
looks like a modified battle rifle kind of from Halo. But anyway, in this game, it was first introduced, like I said, in Modern Warfare 3, and I used it all the time. And it was very powerful in campaign mode because if you had one of it just shoots. It has a super fast rate of fire.
It's automatic?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It's super fast rate of fire, fairly good sized magazines. So you could, just be hosing down a room for a long time.
That's how I prefer to play.
Yeah, spray and pray.
I know, yeah, exactly.
Close your eyes.
I think I hit somebody. But then even in the multiplayer, it could be, you can mod it out, put on a better sight, you can get even more extended magazines, as you more unlock stuff for it. And just because it had the high rate of fire, which made up for it, it did lower damage. Like if you just shot somebody once with it, it wouldn't do that much to them. But you could just really just be merciless with it and just run through. Again, it could be used as kind of a long range. I've hit guys from across the map, just like gone like.
Yeah. Is that how you shoot burst? Do you do burst fire usually, or do you? It varies.
It depends on the situation. If I'm trying to shoot,
so it has really range accurate, on it too.
Yeah, it has range on it, so it really hit
weapon.
all the. Yeah, it could be used for close quarters combat. It could be used for a little bit of long range, not very effective, but you could use it that way.
You can definitely annoy people. That's my favorite thing to do in games.
Just like, where am I being shot from?
And you're just over in a corner.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, and so if you paired that with it could go with,
is that a primary
any weapon. Yeah,
is that a primary
it was
weapon?
a primary
so
weapon.
you still have a secondary, right?
Which in the Call of Duty games were like pistols or launchers or something like that. But then you could get the perk that was overkill. Yeah, overkill, and that would let you carry 2 primary weapons instead of a primary or secondary. So if you paired the P90 with like a shotgun, or the P90 with a sniper rifle, you just had all these options. Yeah, and so it just really was just for how versatile it was in any situation. It just made it to be an awesome gun.
Did other people use it as much as you think? Did you run into
it was
people
like one of
using
the
it a lot?
It's like one of the most
It's a
popular
famous
guns,
like Call of Duty. Like that's like the standard.
And they carried it over to Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3. But yeah, in single player, it wasn't that you couldn't just pick it up from the enemies used it and you could pick it up from them, but it wasn't one that you just could start the level.
Oh,
with the
really?
P90,
You had to find it.
Yeah, you had to find it, and then once you got it, it was really good.
Interesting.
And then in multiplayer, like I said, it was really good and just. Yeah,
my only Call of Duty experience is Black Ops 2. I think I've said that before.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did play Black Ops 2.
I'm kind of surprised, actually.
I know. I got it. Like a bunch of my friends had it, and I was like, "Oh, I want to get it and play it." And we had a winter break in between college where I played it a lot.
Yeah, Black Ops 2 was really good.
It was fun.
I've liked all the Black Ops series.
I think I used the AK-47 the most.
Yeah, that's a good gun.
That's standard nice. Even in real life, I hear that's great. All around.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
We should all just go out and purchase some.
Just get some guns, okay. But I sniped a lot as well.
Yeah.
Sniping.
You seem like the
love
snipey
sniping.
type.
Yeah, I love sniping.
I love to snipe. I just wish
to
my ability at it matched my enthusiasm for sniping.
You guys are the people I hate. I'm just like, God damn it.
Jerrett's just camping.
Dying right and left.
I did one time playing Modern Warfare 2 or 3 multiplayer in that one, and I did one time get complete the challenge where you did not die.
Oh, really?
And I
for
wasn't
a whole
even,
game.
Yeah, for a whole match. I wasn't even camping. Like I stayed in one part of the map, but I moved. I like
Setting up your
laterally.
tent.
Let's just go light the fire, boys.
I'll be here for a while.
But no, I would move laterally across the map, so I had like this zone that I covered. But it's not like I was just camping out behind this one secluded corner, just be like, oh god, please don't come around here. But I was able to snipe in that one.
Right.
It was like sniping, and like I had a pistol.
And how
some
long
other
are
stuff like that.
matches? How long did you survive for?
12, 15 minutes, aren't they?
No,
Whoa.
not that
That
long.
long?
I was
Not
about to say
that
that's
long.
a
Maybe-
lot.
Maybe 10.
10 minutes?
I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah, at least 10, because there's another challenge that was if you live for 5 minutes without dying, you would get that too.
There's a feeling that you get when you're playing, and this happens to me a lot, or not a lot, but it happens to me in Halo. It's like I'll be doing really well at the beginning of the game, and like I'll check my score, and like all of a sudden I'm like 9-0, and I'm like, oh, I'm 9-0.
But then that triggers something in your head, and
It does.
you're just terrible at it.
Immediately
well,
worse.
You do, and like I'm like, oh, I have to play differently. I don't want like if I haven't died already, I don't want to die the whole game. And like
Yeah.
when I was running around and getting kills, then I'll stay back and I'll get like assassinated. I
know.
I can't let that affect me.
I know, and so
But it's a great feeling to be like,
Ignorance is
I want
bliss.
to try
Just
to
don't
like
look.
go no death. I mean, that's pretty impossible in like Halo right now.
oh yeah,
You know,
with
it's
how
tough,
it is.
how
It's- God, that'd be so hard.
yeah, that'd be really
Do it.
tough.
I'm getting my
Yeah,
ass
so-
Like going
handed
like
to me in
8-0 at
Halo
the beginning,
5.
you're like, oh, I'm having such a great start. Like I'm not gonna die, and then eventually you're like 8-8.
Yeah, like
God,
your
what the
first,
fuck
you're
happened?
like right out the gate, I'll get like I'll get like like a 5 kill streak. I'm like, yes, and then just I'll die 5 times in a row.
Yeah, I know. It all evens out. It's like golf for me. It's
really
like
does.
by the last hole, trust me, your score will reflect what you deserve.
Yeah, no, I've like
That's
same
an
thing.
interesting analogy.
Well, I play golf, and that's how it is.
I mean, and that's how it is with sniping in Halo. Even like
Yeah.
Halo, I would love to just be like a powerhouse sniper, but
Uh-huh.
it's hard for me to get a handle of. I still love it, and I still try.
Yeah.
I do a lot of sniping in like The Last of Us multiplayer and stuff like that. I'm
Right.
decent there.
It's all different, man. All the sniping
It is.
in different games.
It's
so
all different. It's just how it all
so
handles. But no, but the P90, due to its versatility and just running into a room and just spraying the hell out of it was awesome. And especially in the single player where there would be like sometimes you'd go into a room and there would be like 10 guys in there just all holed up and you just
Take them
run.
all out. This guy loves war.
It was cool. It was cool.
Awesome.
So I like that one a lot. So that's why it's my number 3.
Okay.
So going back to Zach.
Going back to me, my number 2. So my number 2, I think, is an interesting one. We talked about before the podcast started. I thought it was
Yeah,
kind
I was very intrigued by
Yes,
your
very-
angle on this one.
Yes. I might have to defend it a little bit.
Did I miss this?
You
Probably
might have,
did.
yeah.
I'm always late.
You
I'm
might have.
You were
sorry.
late.
I'm so
Yeah,
late.
You missed cool
late
stuff.
again.
You missed cool stuff when you show up late.
I tried.
It is debatable whether or not it is actually a weapon,
Oh.
but I will try to convince listeners and YouTube.
No, I
that
believe
it
you.
is.
I
Okay,
believe
you believe
that
it?
it's a weapon.
It's Sam Fisher. Do you know who Sam Fisher is, Mogan?
Wait, don't tell me. Hang on. Let me think about it.
I would doubt if you do.
Is Sam a girl or a boy?
It's a man.
Okay.
He is not a boy.
Man.
He is as manly as they come.
Well,
He's from.
do you think this is from a game I may have played?
No,
Oh,
I don't
then
think
just tell
so.
me. Never mind.
Splinter Cell.
Oh, no.
He is.
I have no idea who
the
that is.
protagonist, I suppose, and is what you would call him. I guess that's debatable in some of the moments that happen. I'm thinking about Double Agent
Whoa.
and specifically, where you have to make some difficult choices. But he's tries to do the right thing. He works. God, I'm going to forget the kind of the backstory, even though I'm such a big Splinter Cell fan. I've played every single one all the way through. Love those types of games. I know we talked about Metal Gear and talking about stealth games.
Yeah.
I just am addicted to playing like super stealthy and trying to know you never getting seen, using the shadows.
Stealth and snipers seem like your thing.
Just I like to be in the shadows. You
It's
know,
because when you are really good at it, it feels
it's
so
fun.
good.
Yeah, it's like you feel cool. You know, and Sam Fisher is kind of the ultimate badass stealth army ranger man. He's like an assassin.
Ranger.
You know, and I wish I knew what the I can't remember if he's like a CIA or if it's some sort of hypothetical world that he's in, some sort of like made up. I can't really remember now. MI6. That's
Give it a Google.
British. Yeah, we can
I'll give
Google
it a Google real
It's
quick.
not insanely important. Basically, he is this veteran secret agent type man that gets sent into different locations when basically they need to capture somebody, when they need to have somebody killed, and only he can do it. You know, he is like kind of the last resort all the time. And like, Sam, we need to send you in there. And he is equipped with some cool gadgets, great guns, but he's also super versatile in how he can traverse the environment. So basically you can, and this got expanded through the different games. The first one was amazing, but Pandora Tomorrow and Chaos Theory, I think, are like really where the game excelled, especially Chaos Theory. That is such a great game. And you have to do so many different types of things in order to get through different levels, which include like clambering on the side of a wall, doing wall jumps, which is like where he does a split over people, like his legs hitting each side of the wall. It's amazing. And he does a double jump like Mario, and he gets up there and he does a wall split, and so he's hanging above people just by his two legs, like reaching out to each side of the wall. And like the guy walks under him, and then you jump down and you can like choke him or whatnot, whatever you prefer. And he is just kind of the ultimate weapon, in my opinion. And like you have so many different options of how to get through a level. That was like one of the earlier games where I felt the freedom to, how do you want to get through this level? Do you want to do it super stealthy? Do you want to cut open this, side of this wall over here with your knife and get through? Do you want to go around and see both of them?
Yeah.
Do you want to use a spy camera on over here that makes a noise and you can shoot gas that puts them to sleep? There are so many different ways that you could like take out enemies and get through a level. And so I included him on here because he is kind of the ultimate Swiss Army knife. He had like every kind of different thing you wanted he could do. And he also had a pistol. I think he even had a P90, to be honest. A silenced
Did he
P90.
really?
I swear.
He probably did. I mean,
It looks a lot
the
like that
P90
gun.
is a it's a modern. I think it's a real. I'm pretty sure it's a real gun.
And,
maybe, but like,
and it's all silenced, of course. He's got different kind of night vision goggles. All the, he's kind of like a James Bond. He's a Tom Clancy.
he's a Tom Clancy character.
Tom
So yeah, he's
Clancy
just
guy.
a very, and he's part of. It says here he's a former member of Third Echelon.
Third Echelon,
a top
that's
secret
right.
sub branch within the National Security
Yeah,
Agency.
super top
So
secret.
it is kind of like
He is the guy.
a fictional part of a real.
Yes, right. So you can
Government
imagine
branch,
he is
a real
like
branch.
the one that's like he's the fixer. He's
Yeah,
the
of course.
fixer
Yeah.
that has to go in.
And that's a good choice too. I mean, like I said, I agree with you.
Yeah,
like
it's
he's a weapon, and there are several characters in video games that you could add to that list.
That's absolutely true.
There's lots of people like that. So no, I
that are
agree.
kind of like, I mean, even Snake from Metal Gear Solid, which I think is
Yeah.
very comparable to Sam Fisher. Both
Yeah.
are like these stealth guys that have a lot of versatile moves and have a lot of equipment at their disposal.
I was gonna say also like Adam Jensen from the Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Okay, so you would know more.
Same thing. He's augmented, so like some of his body parts are weapons.
Sure.
Right on.
Right.
So like but yeah, no.
Yeah, so and I always want to talk about Splinter Cell because Splinter Cell was such a great game in growing up,
Right.
and the whole series, and like I think some were better than others. Like I said, Pandora Tomorrow and Chaos Theory were definitely the top pinnacle of those games, and because what they were doing graphically as well was super impressive. The way that you actually had to use shadows was the first game I ever saw where like if you're moving through a hallway and one side's lit, the other side's dark. And if you're on the dark side, you have a meter that will tell you how visible you are to the enemy. So you really can use the
That's
environment to your
cool.
advantage.
That's
It's
pretty
really cool. Yeah, and there's a one of the more famous levels in Chaos there where I forget the exact like what you're doing there, but there's a lighthouse and it's raining and it's just beautiful. You're climbing this lighthouse on the like the outside of it, and there's a guard at the top and it's super high up, and it was like the first time you could reach over and pull him off and throw him off the lighthouse while you're still there. It's just like, God, how does he's so strong. My God, he's just such a man. Man, he's got some freaking muscles to like take this guy out and still hang there. It's amazing. I'm like, just use the stairs. But that wouldn't be his style. That's not what Sam Fisher's about.
Can I take
would've used the
or can I climb this wall?
Can I climb this slippery wall in the raid?
I'm gonna climb the wall.
But yeah, that's just how he does it, So he does everything with style, and it's very kind of beautiful the way he traverses through, and the animation's really well done, and like just from going from one wall to another wall with like being prone against it is really cool.
Nice.
He'll just flip around, so he's like, you get to feel like you're him, and I love that. You get to feel so much that you have all these things at your disposal, just like he does.
Is he a silent protagonist?
No.
Oh,
Sam
okay.
Fisher, he's got like a daughter, he's got like a backstory, and he's outspoken about like what should be done. And especially in Double Agent, in which I mentioned before, is like there's some fucked up shit that happens in that game.
And is he also voiced by Troy Baker and or Nolan North?
I don't
No.
think so.
I
Sam
d-
Fisher has a very famous voice actor that does his
who
voice.
is it?
I don't know. Well, yeah. Okay, Michael Ironside.
Yep.
Yes.
That sounds
He's-
like a
He's in Starship Troopers. That's the one thing I can think of off the
Okay.
top of my head.
Canadian. How
and he
about
has a
them apples?
great, and I actually like saw an interview with him. And he's like on an airplane, like ordering a drink, and like he's like, "Can I get a whiskey and sour?" And then and like someone behind him, there's like, "You're Sam Fisher," and he's like, "Yes, I do Sam Fisher's voice." And it's like, and Sam Fisher has a very iconic. It's like Master Chief's voice, kind of. It's like
That's
everyone
funny.
knows who Sam
Yeah.
Fisher's
Yeah.
voice sounds like. Now I don't know the future of the game. I'm curious if something else is coming out. I'll
When
definitely
was
get
the
it.
last installment?
The last installment was not Conviction, even though maybe it was Conviction. Splinter Cell Conviction, possibly. That might have been the last one, and that's when he's like in his street clothes. I know you guys might
What
know.
year
I
would
haven't
that have
played that
been?
yet, no.
I mean, it was at least like 4 years ago now.
Oh, really?
I think it's been a while.
I
But
mean,
Black. What's the black one? Splinter Cell. I know we have to look it up again.
Black
That's
Ops?
all right. I've got it pulled up
and
already.
it was a very different change of pace. You could actually kind of run into a place and like shoot people very quickly, and he was running and climbing and like going very much faster than what I was used to. So I wasn't crazy about it. You could still play it both ways, but it was geared towards more of an action type game,
Gotcha.
which is cool. It had slow motion effects when you like went into like triple kill mode and all that jazz. You know, you could target people and go boom, boom, boom. What was it called?
Blacklist.
Blacklist. I
2013.
think that was the 2013. So about 3
Conviction was 2010. So you were-
2010.
Yeah,
okay.
you were pretty close.
Okay, so yeah, Blacklist. Not a bad game, of course. They're always beautiful, but nothing will really beat Pandora Tomorrow and Chaos Theory for me. And there's a whole multiplayer component
Which
one day I'll talk about.
Pandora for Tomorrow is the second one, 2000. So that's an older one.
Yeah, that is an older one.
Oh, those both are. Those are. What was your other one? Chaos Theory. you
Chaos
said?
Theory, that's after
Yeah.
Pandora.
Were
Yeah,
those
that's the
available
next
for
one. Second and
PlayStation?
third.
I don't think so. I think they're
Oh,
Xbox
were they only
exclusives.
Xbox?
Yeah, that was one of the other reasons I loved Xbox.
Because I want to
Yeah.
play it now.
Ah,
Come
they're
on,
great.
Zach.
Great online play as well, which I'll talk about in another episode. But really cool Spies vs. Mercs.
Nice. We should really, because we do talk about a lot of games. You know, you talk about a lot of these more hidden gem games that Zach and I haven't played.
Yeah.
But we all just have we all just have all these games that we've talked about that the other of us have played. And I know,
I
you know,
know.
we need to just have a day where we sit down and just like
Right.
we all bring the systems over
Just
that
show
need
each
them,
other
and
the
just
game
show each
swap.
Yeah,
other.
like, hey, check this
I
out.
like
Just
it.
like, this is my favorite mission from this game.
We need to carve out, like we said, a time to do that.
Yeah.
You know, we need to.
Because that's the
structure
thing.
our
It's like
weeks more.
with these, I'm like, oh my god, I gotta play all these. But then
Right.
I know realistically, that's like to find the time to go back and play all these is going to be very hard. So if I could at least just like see it, like play a couple levels, that might
Right, get
that
an
might
idea.
that might quench my
Yes,
thirst
I
for
agree.
it a little bit.
I
I
agree.
genuinely don't know which game I would have either of you play. Like, out of my arsenal, I don't know which
you just
one.
talk about so many. Like
I know, like, there's a
Okami
lot.
would
Ooh,
sounds
that's a
really
good
fun.
one.
Yeah,
Pikmin,
Okami
I
does
want to
sound-
play. Portal, I want to play.
Yeah,
you know.
Portal's fun to watch other people play too.
It is.
You're like,
Yeah.
oh, because you've done it before, and you're like, I want to see what
It's
they
a
do.
great game to be an antagonistic backseat
Yes,
gamer
it is.
for.
It very much is.
Nice. Mogan, what's your number 2?
All right, so weirdly, it's never come up before, which seems like wrong considering how much I adore the series. So it's going to be the Morph Ball from the Metroid Prime games.
Okay.
So specifically, Metroid Prime. We're not talking about the older Metroid games, the 2D side scrollers. Metroid Prime, originally released for the GameCube.
Okay, I
had
played that
3 games in the series: Metroid Prime, I think Echoes, and then Metroid Prime Corruption.
I played Corruption.
Only Corruption?
Only Corruption.
Dude, what's wrong with you?
Just happened to get it.
I just played the first.
It was
one,
for the
so.
Wii though, wasn't it?
No, I think it was.
Yeah, that's
so
why I
the
got it.
first 2, I believe, both came out on GameCube, and then they actually released the Metroid Prime Collector's Trilogy for the Wii. So you can still go back and play them. You don't have to have a GameCube, even though I still totally have mine with my original Metroid Prime on it. Still the best way to play it. So the Morph Ball from Metroid Prime is especially unique in my mind because it was one of the first weapons of its type that I ever encountered in gaming, because this would have been back in the early 2000s when I first really started to get into gaming as a whole. So if anyone has never played Metroid, you're Samus. You're this giant Amazoness. She's like 7 feet tall and she's decked out in crazy space armor. You're a bounty hunter. You're a space bounty hunter. You go around killing pirates, doing good things, blah, blah, blah. And Samus, her suit, her Varia suit, or she gets a lot of different suit upgrades, can transform. You can just roll yourself up into this little ball, and that's the Morph Ball. And the Morph Ball is technically both a puzzle solver and a weapon in and of itself. And that was the first time that I had really had something like that in my arsenal. So as the Morph Ball, it's got a lot of tactical advantage in certain areas of the game because it's a lot faster. you can morph ball around the map a lot faster than you can run. So if you're ever needing to escape or try to get around an enemy to get around to the back of it really quickly, you morph ball up and shoot back around. And then once you're there, you have the ability to lay bombs. So the morph ball does actually have an actual offensive technique. You just lay these little bombs. Typically, you can only lay about, I think in the first Metroid Prime, you can only lay 3 at a time. And they do eventually it's just automatic. You automatically get 3 more as soon as your other 3 have exploded. But so if you release them in quick succession, you have to wait for them to come back if you want to lay more. Mm-hmm. So with the morph ball, when I first saw it, I was like, this is a weird game gimmick. Because it seems like a lot of the times new gaming mechanics are often a gimmick to match up with something new that has happened to the hardware, try to show off what it can do. The morph ball is definitely not that. It is an integral, highly important part of the game. It gets you through different areas of the map in like little small tunnels, and then the tunnels in and of themselves have their own puzzles. So like when you're typically in a tunnel, you go from a 3D view to kind of a flat 2D view. And from there, there's usually like little creatures in the tunnels that you have to kill, different ways to get around the tunnels to get to either the other side or sometimes to get hidden objects that are in the tunnels themselves. So in terms of timing, your 3 bombs are very, very, a lot of the times difficult to use, but they're very fun. So one of the things that I'm specifically thinking of is if you're in a tunnel and you're trying to get up a vertical shaft, obviously you have to jump up and you're a morph ball and you only have 3 bombs. So what you do is you have to time it just right to lay your first bomb, lay your second one just right at the perfect time after it, and then when the first one goes off and launches you into the air, you lay the third bomb in the air, and then by the time you've dropped back down, the second bomb you've laid goes off again, bumps you back up to the third bomb, which bumps you all the way to the top.
Interesting. Okay.
I have spent so much time doing exactly that sequence to get to the goddamn energy tank at the top of the shaft. So many hours of my life just down the tubes.
Are
the
these
literal tubes.
Metroid Prime games that you're talking about? Because I know Corruption was first person, and when you went to the ball mode, it would change to third person.
Yes.
Are the first 2 like that as well?
They're exactly the same.
Okay.
So it's the exact same mechanic. The Metroid Prime games are all first person, but then when you go into Morph Ball, it's third person.
Yes, okay.
Can you imagine first person in the Morph Ball?
No, I couldn't.
That would be a crazy ride.
I don't even know exactly how the Morph Ball physically is supposed to be believable.
Well, so Samus is like,
well, it's
just
like with
think
her armor,
Transformers.
right?
Yeah,
just
she's kind of not
she's
exactly
just amazing.
human. She's like almost half robot.
Yeah,
but I guess, I don't know,
Well,
is
I think
she?
it's just the suit. I
Is
think
it? Yeah,
she's
it's
totally
just the
human.
suit.
It's
Just
the
somehow
suit.
she's
Yeah.
able
It's just,
to.
yeah, so the
that
suit.
works.
Now, in the lore of the game, a lot of people I have heard them call this race the Chozo. So it's spelled Chozo. I've never said it that way in my life.
The race, what race?
It's this race. So they're basically this ancient race of aliens. They're seen as being very mystical and very wise. You almost kind of think of them as like the ancient Egyptians or something like that. And they are actually the race that raised Samus.
Oh,
so they're
okay.
the ones that built her suit.
Oh, I
they're the
see. So
ones
there
that
you
gave
go.
her the
That kinda
weapons.
helps as,
Yes,
like,
and I
putting
call
into
them the
context.
Kozo. I would
The
never look
Kozo.
at the word Chozo and go Chozo.
Kozo sounds way cool.
Kozo
Yeah,
does sound
I
way
thought Kozo
cooler.
was the, and then I said it out
Kozo.
loud once, and other people looked at me like I was a psycho, and they were like, "You mean the Chozo?" And I was like, "No,
Chozo
I mean
doesn't
the
sound that
Kozo.
cool.
What are you talking about?" So the Kozo are the ones who made all of her weapons, and like throughout the Metroid Prime games, you can go to different areas of the world, and if you scan particular areas for information, you can get more lore about them and about the world at large.
Yeah, I never knew that.
So it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of reading involved. You do actually have to read the entries if you wanted to, but there's like hundreds. And they're all from differing perspectives. So you can get them from the Kozo, you can get them from the enemies, from the actual pirate races that you're fighting. So, but the Morph Ball, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the Morph Ball, is the most fun aspect of the game because it also has power-ups. Like, you start out as just a regular Morph Ball, all you've got are you can roll around and you've got bombs. But as you progress, some of your power-ups are the Boost Ball, for example. So the Boost Ball, you hold down B, you charge up power, and it shoots you across wherever
I
you're going
remember
really
using
fast.
that. Yeah.
And my favorite thing was just shooting around the maps at crazy speeds and laying bombs. That was all I wanted to do. Even if you were supposed to walk across, I'd be like, well, can I Morph Ball across?
How do I morph ball
I'm
through
gonna
this
try.
level?
I'm going to try.
Is it possible to morph ball through the entire level? Like the entire game?
I don't think so because No, there's certain areas where you have to have the
be.
grappling hook.
Okay.
Like if you're trying to cross a wide chasm, you have to have the grappling hook.
Can't shoot over with the
No,
ball form.
I've tried. Not
Yeah,
for lack.
trust me.
Not for lack of trying. I've made that effort.
Have you used Samus in Super Smash Bros?
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's-
She
good.
uses the
That's where
morph ball and like
Yeah.
drops the bomb and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I know. I love
No.
using Samus.
Yeah.
So it's either, if it's not Link, it's Samus.
Yeah.
I mean,
love
it's not
Samus.
Captain Falcon, it's Samus.
Yeah, Samus is a great.
She's a
great-
good one.
Yeah, she's
She's
awesome.
a great one.
That's interesting. That's a good one. That's
a
an
good one.
interesting
The morph
weapon.
ball, it's
yeah.
a lot of
It's
fun.
kind of
It's kinda
similar,
like-
kind of
it's
similar to
similar to
what he was
Sam
talking about, like
Fisher.
Sam Fisher.
Yeah.
Her,
Yeah, it's her own
body is a
self.
weapon.
You just
Yes.
become the morph ball, and then you roll
like
around
that.
and just troll your enemies, and they're like, "Just hold still." And you're like, "Nope."
Nope, gotta roll.
Yeah.
They see me rolling. All right, so my number 2 in this one, Zach and I will be able to go back on this one a little bit, back and forth on this one a little bit,
what is
is because it's fun. As I've mentioned before, huge fan. You know, I'm a big medieval person, medieval history and all that stuff. So I love like swords and, you know, more ancient forms of weaponry like that. So this one hits my list though because it's a sword used in a futuristic sci-fi world. It's the energy sword from Halo.
Oh, that's right. I saw this on your list. Now I remember.
I was sitting here trying to decipher your handwriting, and for
I'm
the
sorry,
life
what
of me,
is
I
that?
couldn't figure out what it was. I
And
was
my
like,
handwriting,
sword,
my
yeah.
handwriting is terrible.
I was reading
writing
it
in
as enemy
Sangheili.
sand, and
No.
I was close. I was close.
Close.
Is it Sangheili
Close.
what elites speak? Is that right? Or what's Sangheili? Isn't that what the elites? That's the elites.
I know it's
tongue?
like
What
a
word are
re-
you saying?
I think it's the Covenant tongue.
Yeah,
Sangheili.
I think so.
So, just real quick, the energy sword is a covenant weapon that comes from
Right.
the race. I'm probably saying
Right,
what
so the
you're
most-
going to
most-
say. So there is a Sangheili word for it.
Yeah,
There is.
I
but
don't
know what
I
it
don't
is.
know what it is. Yeah.
There's a Sangheili word for like everything.
And so, yeah, because I'm pretty sure Needler is not their official name for that
Correct
gun.
connotation for that
No.
weapon. Hey, there's the needler.
But no, so again, you know, anyone who's familiar with Halo knows the energy sword.
Yeah.
It's a very iconic weapon. It was actually a toss-up between that and the gravity hammer for me.
So you
honestly.
definitely wanted to go something Halo.
Yeah. It
just felt right.
It just felt right to go to Halo for this one because, you know, I haven't played near as much Halo probably as you have, but I spent a lot of good time in Halo.
So that's an insult to me.
No, it's
I know. Well, I'm glad that you went with the energy sword over the gravity hammer.
I
think
like
that's
the
correct
the
choice.
gravity hammer is awesome in the fact of there is a very satisfying feeling and just taking it and just like especially when you're fighting a brute,
Right.
and just going whoom,
Yes.
that sound that it makes and then just like seeing them fly back.
It is cool.
This massive monster of a thing and just
Yes.
like it flying backwards. I love it for that reason. But
there's-
the energy sword is so much more stylish.
There's so much more style with the energy sword, and the mechanics of the gravity hammer are a little like wonky
Yeah,
sometimes. It
it's
doesn't
hard to
feel
really
as
use very
smooth.
effectively.
Right.
Right. Well, because it's this huge hammer.
Right, exactly.
Whereas this energy
Oh,
sword,
so it's an actual hammer.
yeah,
It is.
it's
I was
It's
like-
thinking that was
huge,
just
like
a name
mallet.
for something
Yeah, it's
else.
like a
Gosh,
huge-
yeah.
that seems so on Halo.
But I will say,
I think
whenever
it's a
you
little on Halo actually, but they made it work. They made it work.
don't
It's
know.
actually gone now. Like you don't even see
Yeah,
it
it's not in
anymore.
Halo
it's
5,
not. The
but-
sword is though, so there's your,
which is awesome.
Yeah.
that they keep that because obviously it's the better of the two.
It's a cool
But I
weapon.
will say there is not a more fearsome sight in Halo. One of the more fearsome sights in Halo is seeing a fully armored like elite brute rushing you carrying a gravity hammer.
Yes.
You know you're about to be into a big fight right there.
Yes, that's true. And
So-
same with the sword too, but in different like level, like
Because the sword is-
invisible elites.
yeah,
if you run to an invisible
that's
elite,
scary.
you're like, and he's got the sword out. That's pretty creepy.
But if it's one you can see and he's rushing at you with the sword, like you're like, okay,
Right.
this is coming.
You have to,
But-
like, kind
but you
of
can really,
get
but
ready.
those are easy to get, like a quick, well placed sticky grenade or something like that. Plasma grenades.
A great moment in Halo 1 on Assault on the Control Room, which is like the 5th Halo campaign level, and it's the snow level. It's what I call it. It's like it's snowing everywhere. But there's a great point at the end of this first bridge where a gold elite comes out with an energy sword. And it's one of like I don't think it's the first time you see an elite with a sword, but I always remember that one because it would kill me a lot. The gold elites in Halo 1 took a lot of damage.
The one that always got me was in the silent cartographer level, where you're going down deep into the base, and you just turn a corner, and he's just standing
he's
there.
right there.
And
Yeah.
man, that one got me so many times.
Yeah.
But the energy sword, granted, yes. So it was fearsome when you had to fight against it, but man, when you got that thing,
Yes. Which
you felt invincible.
Which didn't happen until Halo 2. You
Right.
couldn't do that in Halo 1. So that was a great addition to Halo 2. Which and you think like a sword in a Halo game doesn't seem like a weapon that would fit with the other weapons, but they do it well.
They do it so well. Like if you have it in a multiplayer, even in Halo 5 now, it's like you are a very dominant force.
You
because
can be.
I feel like you're faster when you have it. I don't
Halo
know if
5 you are.
Okay,
In
I
Halo
figured
5 you
I
are.
figured you were, because especially now with the boost and all that stuff. But then, yeah, I guess because you're not burdened down with a heavy gun or something like that. Yeah, you can just go really fast. So you've got speed on your side. It's a one-hit kill.
True.
You
It's
know.
one. Yeah. So Mogan,
I
it
didn't
is a one
see.
hit
I
kill.
actually I can visualize the thing that you're talking
It's a
about, but
blue-
that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's
You're
just,
vulnerable when you're running around. You feel
you
like
have to be fast. You have to be dodgy. You
Yeah.
have to be
if
throwing
you-
some grenades to distract some people,
Sure.
stuff like that. Maybe have like your Magnum or some other weapon you can switch to so you don't get stuck with somebody way across the side and they're like
it's a
sniping
close
at you.
quarters weapon.
Right.
At the end
So
of
it
the day.
definitely has its advantageous uses whenever you want to pull it out and use it. But man, when you do, you feel so good.
Right, you do. And when you get like a triple kill with it, like you can either like hot you like yeah, I know. You see on the radar like people coming around the corner, you're crouching, you're like they have no idea they're all about to get sliced.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, sliced and diced.
And then so it's very rewarding using it in the multiplayer because of that. Because there's that thing you can use it to kill the AI opponents, but then when you use it to kill an actual
It's
human
so much
opponent,
more
so much
satisfying.
more satisfying.
Yes.
But still, that does not mean that when you're in the single player campaign and you use it and you're slicing like grunts and
Right.
who are all huddled in this mass, like he's coming.
Yes.
You're just like, not today. You're dead.
Your own weapon, fools. You gave me this.
Yeah, it's just a fun weapon to use. And then yeah, I love that it's a great sci-fi sword. I mean, I know there
it's
are a ton of sci-fi swords out there, lightsabers from Star Wars,
But it
and
has
things
its own
like that.
unique, taste and feel.
It does.
You know?
It does, and when you pick it up, that it's a unique weapon. It's a special weapon, and it just gives you this extra bit of power.
It is a special. Like I remember in Halo 2, it was. I think the ammo for it was infinite in Halo 2. I think in Halo 3 and onwards, they actually started to put like
Which is
every
good.
slice was like 10% of the energy of it. But in Halo 2, I'm pretty sure it lasted like forever.
Yeah.
And the
It was like that became your focus, killing the guy
Right.
who had the energy sword.
and the range on it in Halo 2, I think, was the longest too. So you could really, if you were fairly far away and the
annoying thing in
reticle
the
was
world.
red, you could lunge. It was big lunges across
Yeah.
like big parts of the map. So that was kind of interesting.
I remember playing the infected version on the multiplayer in Halo 2,
fun.
where the one person had the sword.
Yeah.
It
That's
was
so
so
fun.
fun, but it
Yeah,
was hard to
it
kill that
is
guy.
hard. It is,
because
yeah.
he could just run it from anywhere and he can slice you up.
The one thing that you run into with the sword that always pisses me off is the shotgun. That is like the sword stopper. Like
Yeah.
they'll be lunging
Well,
at you.
it's like
and
the
you
only thing
just-
that, again,
it's the only
close
close
range
quarter thing that can
you can
really
kill in one hit.
stop the sword. And you
Yeah.
get a bull true, which is the medal. It's like if they're lunging at you, but you shoot them while they're lunging and kill them, you get a bull true, which I think is a cool medal.
Nice. So no, Halo. Yeah,
No,
I love
no one
the
looks
energy
better
sword.
with the sword than the elites, though.
No.
There's like a great cinematic in Halo 2. Before the game came out, they revealed it at E3, where Master Chief, a bunch of pods come down surrounding Master Chief, and elites jump out, like black elites, like
Yeah.
dark, black armor elites, and they all have energy swords. And like, so before the energy sword's there, it's like a handle, and they kind of like whip it like a whip, and then it like comes out. So it's a cool like cinematic weapon.
and it does that every time you draw it too. It's not like you have it and you just like put it on your back.
Right.
Every time you
You go,
select it, it goes.
Yeah, and
and
it's
like
That is
yeah,
probably
and
it's
kinda
cool,
like
and it's
electric,
cool how
you
it's like
know.
this, like it's almost double bladed. It's like got this gap
Yeah.
in the middle of the blade. It's not just like one solid blade, but it's so cool.
It's a great weapon. And there was something curious that happened in the Halo 5 beta, which didn't translate into Halo 5, I don't think, even though I could be wrong. There was a sword called the Prophet's Bane. And there was the sword, and then there was the Prophet's Bane. There was two different swords.
Interesting.
The Prophet's Bane was like, had a longer range. Halo 5, I don't think has that. I have not seen the Prophet's Bane.
haven't seen it either.
Unless that's what the new sword is. But it was weird. I was like, what is the Prophet's Bane? Like, this is a weird new sword.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. So I don't know exactly what happened with that. Maybe someone else does.
Yeah, I'm interested to look into it, but no. Energy sword,
Good
by
choice.
far, is one of my favorite
Anything
weapons.
Halo is a good choice. And I'm going to keep that rolling.
I was hoping I wasn't going to ever like double up on one
No.
of yours, so I was glad we picked different
We're
things.
staying in Halo for this. So
Hell
it's
yeah.
a Halo heavy episode for my number one. So mine comes from the original Halo, Halo
Okay.
1. And this is the weapon that is the most famous in Halo 1 and possibly the Halo series. It is the pistol.
Oh my
The
god!
Halo 1 pistol. It says the M6D. I had to look that up because I didn't exactly know what it was actually called. But the M6D. So the Halo 1 pistol, the backstory behind it, and from what the little research I did, was before it got implemented in the game, they had some trouble balancing it, like for multiplayer purposes and campaign purposes. Like, how strong do we make this thing? How much ammo should it have? All that stuff. I think they had. It was tricky. They didn't want to overpower it. The last minute, I think they had it a little bit weaker than what they initially had, And from what I've read, Jason Jones, one of the creative directors and like kind of like one of the creative director, I think, behind Bungie, he's like the main dude, Jason Jones. He went in and swapped some code in the game and ended up making it a little bit more powerful than what they initially had
Halo
maybe
1
agreed
is
on.
ridiculous.
It's ridiculously powerful, and it's famous. It's got a famous 3-shot kill behind it. So basically, it has 12 bullets in a clip, 3 shots to kill somebody if the last shot hits them in the head, and that alone for me. And I know competitive gaming started before Halo with other things, but that for me was like the beginning of skill involved in multiplayer games to get the 3-shot kill. I realized like it's really hard to do. You could see with 12 shots how many people you could get like an overkill essentially. You get 4 people if you could see the whole team, you know. It kind of added a whole new tactical level to multiplayer games. Instead of just spraying an assault rifle, you would switch to the pistol and you actually had like a focus to it. You actually had to have accuracy, and you actually had to like plan your shots in a very different way than what I was used to.
Yep.
And so I had to include it. And I had to put it as number 1 because it's since that was the beginning of like competitive video games for me. And like that's when I saw what Halo could do for that and what Halo has subsequently like created out of that. And obviously Halo 2, 3, like that gun doesn't exist, and it shouldn't. Like it was too powerful,
right?
But it was fun. Like everyone loved it, and like it became this famous kind of almost like funny thing that came out of this game. Like, man, this gun is really powerful, and everyone used it.
Well, it was fun to play. It was fun to play it with like where you in a custom match or whatever, where everyone just had pistols.
Everyone had pistols, right? And even when you're doing like, you know, I'd watch like professionals play, you would have I think you'd still have an assault rifle, and you start with it, but you switch right to the pistol. You know, everyone goes to the pistol, so it became the gun that you had to use, and it had like way too much distance on it. You could zoom in with it.
It was a handheld sniper.
Yeah, in many ways, it's an incorrectly made weapon, but it since spawned like this idea behind games, I think, and behind what competitive games could be, you know, either on purpose or not on purpose. That's what happened. And throughout, like Halo 2 took it away, but they replaced it with the battle rifle. And I think that's a 4-shot kill or a 5-shot kill. I can't remember now.
Because it's burst fire, so it shoots like 3 bullets at a time.
Yeah, I want to say it was a 4-shot kill in Halo 2.
I think so. But then headshot still with that one would like...
That you still needed the headshot. And that's the thing. You can get the 2 body shots, but you have to get the headshot in order to, which is difficult, you know. It's a small window to hit. And that... I forget what I was going to say about... Oh, Halo 3. I think Halo 3 even took the battle rifle. I think that turned into a 5-shot kill. I think.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. I can't remember. But nothing was ever close to the 3-shot kill. And that was a pacing that came out of that as well. Halo 2, in comparison to Halo 1, a little bit slower. Halo 1, because of how quickly you could use that gun and because how spawns were in Halo 1, you could like rack off kills pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You know, the spawns were a little broken as well. Or not broken, but they were the way they were. And they weren't as thought out maybe as like a Halo 2 or Halo 3. But because of how Halo 2 battle rifle worked, like the game's kind of slowed down, which is interesting. It's just interesting to see how one weapon can drastically change how players play the game. I don't even know if Bungie had the intention of the game should be played like this, but it's that always happens. The players find out how to play the game in their own way, and that always like catches fire.
Well, and it's cool too that it came back in 5.
It did come back in 5, so yeah,
not as powerful.
Not as powerful, but it's still it has again. And I don't know if it's the exact same pistol, or if it's like a new version of it, or whatever you want to call it. But it's become the go-to weapon again. It's what you have to use basically in multiplayer. You have to use the pistol.
Yeah, and I love playing SWAT.
Yeah, SWAT and get the headshots.
Where you get to get the headshot and stuff. And I'm good at that. Like,
SWAT's fun.
I can do really good at that.
SWAT's really fun. It's a very unassuming weapon too, which I love about it. I mean, like if you see a picture of it, it's like a little silver pistol. It's like nothing special about it, and that's what I think is so funny about it. It's such a nonchalant, like you would never know that this is like the power weapon in the game. You know, and I love that about it. I think it's kind of like it's not overlooked. People talk about it, but you wouldn't necessarily first jump to that as being one of the more like creative or strange weapons or like unique weapons, but it happened to be just from like a code era that happened. So like I like the myth behind it too. Like this sort of like mythological story about the Halo 1 pistol. It kind of spawns so many different things.
I hope it wasn't an accident. I hope he did it on purpose.
I think he did. He might have. He might have like I don't know if he like I don't know the full story. I know but that he went in there and he changed it. Maybe he didn't know how much, or maybe like he didn't realize what would happen, but he was like, you can blame me for better or for worse for how the Halo 1 pistol turned out.
I don't think it like destroyed the game by any means.
No, I think
so.
I think
it's fine.
It's great. I think it's such a cool thing to have a 3-shot kill. It's very quick, you know. But I can see why they're like, okay, we need to pull back on this a little bit,
right? Because
it became famous.
Yeah, because it's a great weapon to use. It's a fun weapon to use. But then, if you got good with it, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, watching professionals use that thing, man, it's like a whole nother thing. I mean, they just wouldn't miss. That was boom, boom, boom.
That was another fun mode. Having swords and pistols as your loadout. That's a fun way to play.
Really fun.
It's a fun way
but
to
it's
play.
quick too. I mean, it's boom, boom, boom. It's something. It's the timing. I mean, you're dead. So you don't even like have time to.
You
react.
have to be a good shot.
You do have to be a good shot
to get good at it.
And it just changed it from a very kind of, because Halo's always been like running and gunning kind of. It changed it from that to like a more tactical, like thinking about what to do next. And that's when you see like, okay, there's something here. There's like a chess match that's happening. You can get very tactical and get very how do you outsmart your opponent rather than how do you like have the better gun, you know? Right. Because when everyone has that gun, it changes the whole dynamics. Like you got to just have the best shot, and I love that. That's what like was the real changing factor of it.
Nice.
Yeah, so the Halo 1 pistol, the M6D.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
And they should bring it back for Halo 6.
I bet they will.
Back. Everyone still goes back to Halo 1, still plays it, so you know.
Yeah, I bet they'll keep it. Since they brought it back for Halo 5, I would be surprised if they took it away again.
No, they're not going to take it away.
So I'm sure it'll still be there.
But the 3-shot kill, I don't think will ever occur.
Yeah.
TSK.
Probably not.
There's like famous clans called like TSK. 3-shot kill.
So Mogan.
Okay.
What's your number one?
So
tell us about it.
I think you both know what it's going to be because no one has heard from me in many weeks because I've been so absorbed with Splatoon.
Yes.
I'm obsessed. So I got Splatoon over the holidays and I'd been wanting to play it for a long time. It only came out last summer. So it's definitely like a newer game in comparison to the majority of the games that I play, which are old and no one has heard of. So Splatoon, I'm trying to think like, neither of you seem to really know the depths of the game when I started explaining it. So I'm going to go on ahead and assume that if no one has, for people who haven't even really looked at how it's played, you would assume that it's something other than what it really is. So just to give a little bit of background, Splatoon. Technically, it does have a story mode, but it's 100% negligible. You can never play story mode and still have a super awesome time in the game because the real core of the game is online play, which is different for me personally. I almost never do online gaming because I suck. I'm the worst. Like whenever I used to play Smash online, oh God. Immediate dead. Just no chance. Absolutely no chance. But in Splatoon, I'm actually kind of good. So it's why is that? Well, probably because, we're getting to that.
Okay,
this is actually the episode where we're talking about that.
I am curious, but why you personally aren't good at the other multiplayer games? Yeah. What makes this one more your speed?
Honestly, it might be the weapons. Yeah. So we're getting around to it. So for Splatoon, the primary online mode is just called Turf War. So in Splatoon, all of your weapons, the goal of them is to slosh ink, so the colored ink of your team around the map. And the idea of Turf War is that's literally the whole point. You and your team are inking as much of the actual ground as you possibly can to win by percentage. So it's a percentage type of match. Now, you definitely can kill other members of the team, but you can kill no one the whole time and still get a really high score because it's not about kills. However many other players you kill, that has no effect on your score. It's all ground. How much ground did you actually manage to cover?
Got it.
Now that's Turf War. So that one's really kind of for if I'm just like, I'll just play a couple of turf matches because they're only 3 minutes at a time. So they're really fast. You can rapidly do them back to back to back. And then 5 hours later, you're like, oh God, I had stuff to do today. You just never got to it. But the more competitive play is always going to be in ranked battles. So ranked battle is different in that there is a defined goal and a mode. So there's Rainmaker, which is where you basically have this kind of like ancient Chinese looking dragon-shaped shotgun type bazooka thing that you have to get from the middle of the map to the other side. So you're basically trying to get the Rainmaker into enemy territory to win. So if you get it all the way to the defined goal, you win. You get a knockout. If you only manage to get like maybe a certain distance into their territory, but you got more distance than they did, you still win, but it defaults back to percentage.
Okay.
So that's Rainmaker. The other one is Splat Zones, where you have 1 or 2 zones on the map that you have to keep and hold for the whole time. So if it's 2 zones, you can have it to where you never get anywhere. Like they could have 1 zone and your team has the other zone and no one makes any progress because no one can get the other team's zone. When it's 1 zone, those tend to go a lot faster because usually teams are 4, by the way. So it's always 4 versus 4. So when you have already gotten a splat zone and you're already in it, it's really hard for the other team to take the zone unless they're really, really good. And then, of course, the last version, which is probably my favorite, is tower control, where there's a tower in the middle of the map, whatever map it is, and you have to basically get at least one of your team members onto the tower. It will then automatically start moving on a defined track throughout the level that eventually lands in the enemy's territory. Now, it's a defined track. Everybody knows where it's going. Everybody knows what's happening. So that's where it really comes into, can we keep the enemy off of us long enough to get into their territory? That's my favorite one because I'm
that's unique.
I'm arguably the best at it. I'm terrible at Rainmaker, pretty good at Splat Zones, but tower control is really where it's at for me.
Nice.
Now, so that's how the game is played. So regardless, there's a distinct strategic element to inking the ground no matter what. Because by inking the ground, you are charging up, no matter what weapon you have, your special weapon. So every weapon in Splatoon, and there's tons. That surprised me. There's so many more than I was thinking of, and they keep releasing more. They just released a new one.
But don't they all shoot ink?
No, they do, but in different ways. So that's what we're going to talk about. Let me just circle on back around to that.
Keep jumping ahead.
So yeah, the weapon.
So there are different classes of weapons. There are obviously shooters. So those are just your most basic shooter type gun. That's literally all they are. So they have different ranges, different fire rates, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, they shoot. End of story. Then there are sloshers, which are essentially buckets. They're like a bucket of ink or paint that you literally slosh around the map to basically cover ground. And they're also typically quite powerful. So if you get got by somebody's like a slosh of ink, you're dead. So it's usually a one-hit kind of thing if they really get you. So sloshers are typically very slow, but the people who use them really well. I am terrible with the slosher. I should never, ever use it.
But you respawn in this, don't you?
You respawn. Now, so some of your gear, so this isn't weapons, but some of the gear that you get, it's a very fashion-forward game. Like the Inklings, your little squid people, they're very invested in fashion. So, and like they talk about it all the time. So you can have headgear, body gear, and then your shoes. And each of those has a primary ability and then 3 sub-abilities. Well, 3 is the max.
Wow.
So they can have a maximum of 3 sub-abilities. Your primary ability counts for more. And stacking abilities doesn't really work as well because you get diminishing returns. So even if you had like 3 up offense for your sub-abilities, really only the first one counts. The other ones are just negligible add-ons. So some of your gear gives you an ability called Quick Respawn, which obviously helps you respawn faster. Extremely useful for me because I die all the time. I'm dead 100% of the time, but I'm always right back in there.
Never alive.
And at the end of the game, like it ranks you within your team based on how well you did. So you can be in the top spot, you can be 3rd, 2nd, or 4th. And most of the time, I am actually in the 1st or 2nd spot. So I'm almost always one of the better ones on the team. Now that doesn't count for Rainmaker. I'm always the worst. That's just always how it's going to be. So we got shooters, sloshers, there's paint rollers. So you know how if you're actually painting your house, you get like the paint rollers?
Yep.
That, but giant.
Okay.
So you can have a giant paint roller where you literally splash it against the ground and just run. And it leaves a giant trail of ink behind you. They're very effective for covering turf, not so much in actual combat. So if you run into somebody else that has a slosher or a blaster, you're dead. And then there's actual paint brushes, which are an interesting take on basically the roller, because the brush, you kind of just flail it around willy-nilly to slosh ink everywhere. And it's also very good for killing me. I die all the time against the brush.
That's good. Good against me.
Yeah. So if you ever were wondering, how am I going to troll Mogan on this level? It's the paintbrush. The paintbrush or the blasters. So a blaster shoots basically a glob of ink that explodes once it gets to its certain range.
Okay.
Those are really good for tower control because if you actually shoot it, you don't even have to really hit the enemy themselves. You just shoot it near enough to them for the splashback to get them. So there's blasters, sloshers, blah, 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 blah. And then, snipers, of course.
Snipers. You haven't said your favorite yet, have
you?
No,
so we're getting to it. So snipers are the last class. They're very useful in non-turf wars. Mm-hmm. So they're extremely useful in ranked battles, Rainmaker, and Splat zones, because obviously you can really play defensive and get your team the upper hand. Now, I suck with absolutely everything except shooters. Terrible sniper. Because that's not the way I fight. Mm-hmm. I'm right up in the enemy's face, right on them, just killing them to death. I'm terrible with rollers. I'm terrible with the brushes. Terrible with sloshers.
There's got to be the
one.
I'm
pretty bad with the blaster. Like, I can usually make up for it with my sub and special weapons, but I'm generally pretty bad. Mm-hmm. So the two main, I was really torn about which one it was actually going to be. I think my second favorite would be the NZAP 89. So it's just this, they've all got crazy names. Cool. They've all got wild, crazy names. So it's just a shooter. Mm-hmm. Its real highlight is its accuracy. It shoots very, very straight ink globs, which most of the shooters don't. They kind of have like a splatter shot effect. The NZAP 89 does not. It's very accurate, has a very high rate of fire. On the downside, it doesn't do as much actual damage. So even if you get right on top of somebody, you've got them right in your sight, it still takes quite a bit to kill them. So the NZAP 89 got technically knocked out because the Aerospray RG is my number one weapon that I'm really quite married to at this point. I was actually, during the recent Splatfest, I got on a team with all other Aerospray RGs. We slaughtered everyone.
What is that one?
Yeah, so what does it do?
The Aerospray RG is a shooter, but it definitely has the splatter effect. Okay. So it doesn't shoot straight. If like I'm facing you with my Aerospray and I'm shooting right at you, about out of 5, I may have actually hit you twice.
Really?
If you weren't
So
moving.
it's really sporadic and
it's really sporadic,
all over the place?
But its range is short, which is good for me because range never does me any good anyways. There's no point in my getting a gun with a lot of range because I'm not going to use it. I'm going to be right up on you or right behind you, dropping down on you from above, firing, going down in a blaze of glory. So the Aerospray RG is the best one for covering ground quickly. And that's arguably true for the whole game. The Aerospray RG, because of its splatter effect, you can cover the ground rapidly and a lot of it, which is useful because your colored ink, you can swim in it. The enemy can't.
Right, I do remember that.
You can't walk through enemy ink, you get stuck, you get slowed down, so it's still very tactical to be covering a lot of ground, because if they can't even get to you, because the whole turf is your color, then you're that's how you're going to win.
Goal.
So
that's like your role.
That's how I contribute to the match. Like if there's 3 snipers on the team and me, we're definitely going to win, because they can take everybody out and I'll cover everything else, because snipers have terrible actual inking range. So the Aerospray RG, you just cover 100% of the map as much as you can. And then in terms of actual fighting, you go into the ink, swim around all stealthy, sneak up on people, get within 2 feet of them, and just blow them to smithereens.
Nice. Man, that sounds fun.
It's a lot of fun.
I really want to play this.
Snipers?
Now,
cool.
again, so
you
could definitely get a lot of snipers. So one of the more...
Inklings don't explode when they get hit.
They do.
Oh, really?
They kind of...
Really?
Yeah.
That's how I'm having trouble. This seems like such a fun, like carefree kind of game. How do they die?
Yeah. So if I splat you, that's literally what happens. Like that. So dying is actually splatting. If you splat the enemy, it actually shows up on your screen. Like at the bottom, they'll say, "Oh, you splatted user, blah blah blah." If you get splatted, it will like during the respawn, the game will zoom out to who splatted you.
Oh yeah.
And instead of really focusing on their username, it shows you what they used to kill you.
It's like kill cam.
That's right. So it's like, oh, that's how they're getting me. I need to figure out a better strategy to get around that.
Gotcha.
So with the snipers, just go fast. Just go really fast all around them and they can't get you.
Nice. Interesting. Yeah, Splatoon.
I'm
Again, intrigued.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
My interest is piqued.
Yeah, my
And you
interest
can
is
also
piqued.
do this, so it doesn't have to be all random. Through the Nintendo Network, you can add your friends, and there are special modes where you can just play your friends. So you don't always
and I like
have to
that.
be. Yes.
But you can't chat with them. You don't.
No.
Yeah. See, that's
That's
good.
Me out.
I think
wish
it's
could
actually
I mean,
chat
good
with
it's
them.
good. It's good for Splatoon.
It's good for Splatoon and Nintendo. Yes.
And
yeah.
it's also good because a lot of the people you're playing, I'm almost never on a team with other people who I think are actually from the U.S. It's very, very predominantly Japanese players.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure
That's
it's
pretty
a
cool.
very
so it's
large
always
Japanese
like me
following.
and then 3 people I can't actually name. So I'm like, yes. Sniper number 1. That's
Thank
my
you, sir.
guy.
Thanks for covering me.
Thanks for covering me, buddy.
Nice.
Cool.
So my number one
Yes.
is this one. I hadn't thought of it. Like I was thinking the one that I was going to pick was going to be this game from that old Star Wars game that I used to play, Dark Forces.
Yes.
That old first-person shooter. But then it just hit me, and I was like, oh, duh. This is obviously my first choice for a favorite weapon, and that is the Hidden Blade from Assassin's Creed series.
Oh, the one that comes out of his.
Yeah, that comes out of your
Sleeve?
arm. Yeah, that comes out of your sleeve and stuff to
Interesting.
doing the assassinations and
Interesting
everything.
pick.
So it's been a constant weapon in all the series. It's like the big
very
thing
famous.
of the series.
Yes,
yeah, very,
very
famous
famous.
weapon, which made me be like, why didn't I think of this earlier?
That's interesting because I do forget sometimes that you're a big Assassin's Creed fan.
I am a big Assassin's
Actually,
Creed
I
fan.
really
I've
was
kind
not
of-
expecting
I've
this.
kind of
do you
fallen
know?
off.
Do you know this weapon, Mogan?
I know the weapon, but I really have not played the games
Okay.
much at all.
I've
Just a
fallen
little.
off a little bit recently with like keeping up
I mean,
with
there's
it.
so many.
There are so
Yeah,
many.
they churn
Which
those things
they're
out.
taking a break. There's not going to be one this year.
Good.
Whoa, the whole year?
Yeah.
They're going to go under. They're going to go bankrupt.
No, they're gonna.
Well, they're in like
they're
the
just planning a big
1940s
one.
now, aren't they?
No, they're going to go back. They've already. I think they've said
I
it's
know
going
they're
to be
getting up
in,
there though.
We have
think
to
it's
put some more
rumored-
history between
Yeah, I know.
I think it's actually rumored it's going to be in Egypt now.
Oh, that makes
And I
sense.
can't remember which
can
one it's
see
going to
that.
be, what like the time period. But anyway, back to the actual weapon
Yes.
itself. So the Hidden Blade, it's in the very first one, and it's interesting in the very first Assassin's Creed when you're during the time of the Crusades. How they use that is they would actually like remove your ring finger.
That's right.
Oh
And that's part of the
my.
ritual.
Is like part of the
I
ritual.
remember
It like
that, yeah.
became your new finger.
Right.
Oh, boy.
Kind of thing. But it's not like it's not like Wolverine where it was like in your hand and would
Right, it was
go
a
out.
mechanism
It was
that
a
had-
mechanism
it was
like
in
you
your-
wore it like a sleeve right
Right.
under your hand, and you
Right.
could just like have the positioning of your hand. You would it come out, and then you could use it to assassinate people very quickly and quietly,
Come
and they
back
would never
in,
know.
yeah.
Assassin's Creed 2, you got one on each hand.
Oh, wow.
That's probably fun.
But you didn't. But because it jumped ahead in time to the Renaissance and all that stuff, they make a joke about it. Like they act like because the whole thing of Assassin's Creed, it's all very tied together. Every game is all very tied with this lore of the Assassins and the Templars. And so they make a joke about it when your new character in Assassin's Creed 2 is getting his hidden blade, like his uncle acts like he's about to chop off his finger, and he's like, all right, we got to do this, and he's like, oh, and he's like, just kidding, we figured out the technology to make it where you don't have to do that anymore.
That's funny.
And or they're just like, that's kind of stupid to make you lose your finger.
Yeah, why did we do that in the first game? Wink, wink.
But they give you 2 of them now.
That's
and
cool.
which is so like the box
Now,
art.
does that
The
help?
box art of Assassin's
He's
Creed
got
2
both
is like
of them.
he's like walking and he's got both of them with his hands out. It's a super cool image.
Does that
I know that iconic.
expand the ways that you can use them? Like,
Well, because now you can because before, say you're walking up on a guard, and there are like 2 guards standing in this doorway. You could
Yeah.
walk up, and you could in the first one, as Altair, you could walk up, assassinate one, and then if the other guy didn't notice, you could assassinate the other one.
But
Now you can just walk. It's so cool. The animation is so cool. You just like walk up, and it's the best. You just walk through the doorway and just go.
That's
stick
cool.
out both arms to the side and just like stick the blades into their heads, and then you just like
That's
let them
pretty
drop.
See, it
cool.
would be awkward though
awesome.
if you misjudged how far away they were and the blades just stopped at their face.
Yeah.
You know, and you're,
Which, I mean,
just, and
obviously-
you're just standing there like an idiot.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, wait a minute.
But it's so
Move
versatile.
closer.
It's so versatile, and it's just a cool weapon to use. So yeah, as it grows, it can become. And then in Assassin's Creed Revelations, it became you could have it. It got upgraded with like a hook mechanism. So like it had like a hook on this side and the blade on this side, and it would like switch around, and you could use it to like ride on a zip line kind of thing.
That's cool.
So it became upgraded, and it like I said, it's the constant of the whole series. But then here's the cool thing about it. Not only could you use it for the assassinations, you could also just use it as your weapon.
Like a sword.
Yeah. So which really doesn't make sense how it could, this little tiny blade could withstand blows from like swords and all this stuff that, that doesn't make a whole lot of real world sense. But in video games,
I'm on board.
and I'm totally on board because it was the most stylish fighting, because the combat system for, like Mogan, I know you haven't played much of these, and I don't think
I haven't really played that much either.
So the combat system is very timing based. Mm-hmm. So like you can block, you can attack, you can grapple and all this stuff, but it really is based on the attacks of the other person. Like if you can just like swing the attack button, but they'll block. So you gotta like wait for them to block.
It's a little dance.
To attack, and then if you hit the button at the right time, and you'll block, and then you can counter and like shove it in their face or something, like the blade into
something
their
I
face
would
or something
really
like
be
that.
bad at.
Yeah,
It takes a little bit of time,
Wouldn't
and as the series progresses, they add more things to it, where it can become like in Assassin's Creed 3, I believe, which takes place in the American Revolution. You could see, because that was interesting because it really started introducing guns and stuff like that. Like the opponents would have guns and fighting you. But you could, they'd be aiming up to shoot at you, and you'd see like their reticle, like the icon that was showing they were about to shoot. You could grab an opponent and use him as a human shield, and he gets shot, and you drop him. And just keep going.
They did a very good job with making it very cool.
Yes,
a lot of the game
it's very cool.
Game.
It's a
the
cool,
way you kill people,
stylish weapon.
It's very stylish, yes.
And so you could use it from jumping up way up high on top of people, like I said, walking through doorways, shanking people with it. And then also, like I said, my favorite is to use it as just a sword. I love using the hidden blades or a dagger in Assassin's Creed as just my weapon. Because, and then in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, they introduced this method of using it where, you could just start doing like chain kills. If you got it like you killed a certain number of people, you could just start doing like this chain, just like as you're going, hitting the attack button and just selecting the different opponents to fight. You just go. But the animations were always so fluid.
Yeah, it's a good looking game.
That's my favorite thing, is just to come up, start attacking guards. So a whole lot of guards come out of nowhere to start attacking you, and then you just start taking them down with these little two blades in your hand. It is such a rewarding feeling. It's awesome. And so,
well, I remember when the first trailer came out for Assassin's Creed way back in 2006 or whenever it was. I remember seeing it, and I remember how cool it was to see him go through this crowd of people, and there's a guy speaking on like a small wooden stage, and when the blade comes out, I remember how cool that was for me. It's very kind of targeting at the inner not
your inner assassin.
The inner assassin.
Just like the inner hooded, with Sam Fisher and all that stuff. I just love the sneakiness of it. I like sneaky things.
No, it's an incredible weapon, and that's what. And like I said, it's the thing. It's the weapon of the Assassin's Creed series.
That's good.
However, its message changed, for better or for worse. That's the one thing that's remained constant and has always been an enjoyable part of those games.
What about when he's a pirate? What about the pirate one?
Same thing.
Is it wooden?
No. It's not like a peg leg. It's like
got barnacles on it.
Let's say so. After Assassin's Creed 2, you always had two.
Okay, so that was a staple.
Yeah. So, but no, it's just for that reason that it's the staple weapon of that series, and just how versatile it is in all the different ways you can use it. Man, it has to take my number one.
Cool.
Nice.
That's a little surprising.
Yeah. Of all the things,
why? What'd you think?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what to. You're a mysterious guy, Jarrett.
I know. I was thinking maybe it's gonna be some Star Wars
I
weapon,
was thinking it would be
something
Star Wars.
older, something that was more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that one from Dark Forces, that was going to be my number one.
Right. Yeah.
Wait. So what was it from Dark Forces?
I've talked about it a little bit before. It's the one that you would get later in the game, but you would get it after you would kill Trandoshan enemies. Just this alien race.
Yeah,
people
I
who know Star
know
Wars
what
will
that
know
is.
it.
I understand.
But basically, what it was is it would shoot and it'd go like, but you wouldn't actually see a bolt or energy or anything leave the gun itself. But then it would just be this almost like blue fountain thing would shoot up of energy, would shoot up under the
Oh, I
gun.
remember you talking about
And
that.
it kind of would launch them, and they'd be like, "Whoa!"
Yeah. It's just Star Wars is famous for
So
the
yeah, the Wilhelm scream. and all
Yeah,
that
the
stuff.
Wilhelm scream.
Yeah. Which I wish I could emulate, but I
Yeah, I
can't.
can't do
I've
it
tried
either.
it so
Let's
many
not
times.
No.
But so that was going to be my number one. But then I was like, yeah, but I haven't played that game in a really long time. Granted, yes, it made an impact for me, but then thinking about it, I was like, man, Assassin's Creed. I got to go with the Hidden Blade.
Interesting.
So we've now all wrapped it up. Those are our three. The listeners, what are your favorite weapons? Obviously, like we said, there are a ton.
And we'll probably come back to this.
And we'll definitely come back to this
I
topic
could do a
again.
part 2 for this.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Easily. Could do a part two for this one again. Well, maybe not easily. I'd have to think about it a little bit.
Well, they keep releasing
But again,
new weapons
they keep
for
releasing new
Splatoon,
games.
so.
Yeah, they keep releasing new games. We'll
infinite,
definitely revisit this topic soon. But yeah, send us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com or send us a tweet at Team Chat Podcast, telling us what's your favorite weapon. We'd love to hear from you and get a little bit of discussion about it.
I am curious about other people's top threes.
I am too.
There's probably some good ones.
Probably so.
One I was thinking about putting on was the spiker grenade from Gears of War.
I was surprised no Gears of War made it.
I know.
And I considered the chainsaw gun. I
know.
considered the shotgun from
All
Gears
that
of
stuff,
War.
they're good,
but
man.
I just didn't. It wasn't not for this
either.
list.
But
not
there's
for
that
this
grenade.
list.
You know that grenade that you can stick to people and like you like back away. That's a cool one. They're like jogging it off. You know, it's like kind of like the plasma grenade.
Yeah.
Which was amazing. Which could
Again,
have done
another
as,
one.
You know, another one that I could have done.
Oh yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of Team Chat Podcast. Thank you for listening and bearing with us as we talk about our favorite weapons of video games and video games in general. Until next time, I'm one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined by Rachel Mogan.
Peace out.
And Zachary Parks.
See y'all later.